Hi everybody. I wanted to shoot a video today on some of the things that are hard and were unexpectedly difficult or challenging about living in a van full time. So me and my wife Noelle live in a Sprinter, 2004 Dodge Sprinter, and then we have a second bedroom or second home of a Honda Odyssey that's converted, that when we were separated I lived in alone. And so being in those two small spaces, there's been some things that have definitely come up in the last year and a half of living on the road full time. So the first thing is finding a place to overnight sleep that's safe and comfortable. We've been all around this country, from California to the Northeast area in Massachusetts and out down into Florida. And there have been challenges in that, and that is the hardest, most interesting thing. Some places are super easy and they're super accommodating. Other places it's harder to really find a place where you're not going to be worried about getting knocked on. To that note, I've been knocked on 6 times in the last year and a half. That's only 6 times, and all that's ever happened is I had to move. And there's lots of videos showing that, the interactions with the police in both my channel and Noelle's. Maybe I'll put a link here to both of those sets of videos that we have about getting busted by the cops, and for more specific details. So that's one big thing. There's tons of videos, and I have videos on how to find a good place to park. The one thing is you don't have to worry about the police. You only have to worry about the people around you on the street you're on. So if you're in front of someone's house and they see you and you're completely legal, and they call the cops have to come and investigate. Even if you do nothing wrong, and they can say, okay, you're fine, just stay here, it doesn't matter. They still have to investigate. So take that out of the equation altogether. The next thing that's interesting about number 2 is 2 people in 70 square feet, and of actual walking room where your feet have room. There are spots in our Sprinter that are small enough that you cannot walk, that you just get by each other, like in the kitchen area. One has to lean over the kitchen counter, the other person has to slide behind them. And so that can be a little challenging, but it's well worth it. It's just the tightness of 2 people. When I was in my Honda Odyssey by myself, no problem with that. I had the whole space to myself. It may have only been like 43 square feet, but it was all mine. And so it's really with that 2 people thing. So that can be interesting to do, dealing with 2 people in such close quarters all the time. The third thing that's interesting and challenging is always having to keep everything clean. When you have that small of a space, dishes cannot be left behind. Dirty clothes cannot be laying around. Everything has to be swept and put away all the time. We have a fold-out bed, a bed that's a futon or like couch, and then it folds out into a full-size bed. And so every day I have to put the bed up into a couch mode and fold the blankets up and set them at the end. There is no time when I can't. Even when I have to do work at 4:30, be up at 4:30 in the morning, I still have to make the bed, or else we'd have to climb over it to get into the front seat. So that is interesting, getting used to always having a place for something and putting it away all the time. And then, as a side note to that, shoes end up being one of the hardest things. I have a pair of flip-flops and a pair of normal shoes, and Noelle has like 3 pairs of shoes total. And my gosh, finding a place, kicking them around, tripping over shoes, that is one of the bigger challenges, which I would have never thought. So we have got creative about where our shoes go and where they get put, and every time you take them off, you have to put them in their place, because you're going to end up kicking them, or one of us will kick them, and then you just get frustrated and annoyed. Number 4, the worst thing about living in a van is bad weather. When it is super windy or super hot and you're out or it's really cold, it is not fun. Or rainy, that's when it's not fun. You end up following, as we get into this life, we end up following the nice weather. So we're not in insanely hot or insanely cold weather. Cold is really hard. We have a buddy heater, which works great, but when it's 20 degrees outside, it's hard for that thing to keep up. so weather is really not fun. And the fifth and final thing, this is actually one of the smaller ones, is there's no extra room in our home to do anything else. We both love doing yoga, but doing yoga, there's no room to do yoga in there. There's barely enough room for anything extra in a van. And so you have to go to a park. It means you're around people. You may not want to be doing yoga and some of those poses around people. And so it is more challenging if you have extra stuff to do. Let's say I have a project I want to work on. I don't have a big space. Oh, there's my room with all the tools in it. I have to do it all in the space we live in. And so not having extra room for me was definitely a weird, hard thing to get used to. And but we of course got used to it, and it's worth every minute of it. So these are the 5 things that I've come up with that stand out most in my mind. You know, if you live in a van, what are things that worry you? What if you don't, and you're thinking maybe I do it, but I can't do this, or what about that? You know, what are those things? Maybe I can address them in another video, or one of us in the comments can give you advice on it who live in a van. You know, let us help figure it out, because there's different things for everybody, for men and women, and I'll put some links to different stuff about showering, using the bathroom in a van, all that stuff, so you can get kind of ideas from this video. And I hope everyone just has a wonderful day. Go out, do something exciting, and check out my channel here and Noelle's channel. I'll put a card here for that too. Check out her channel. There's a lot of inspiring stuff, and we shared a channel for over a year, so there's a lot of stuff of mine on her channel too about the van life. So everyone have a wonderful day. Bye.